So today is a BBC video. West Midlands. You know, you see me in the paper, you see me all over the place. So today is BBC. Getting this thing cracking. One man band. Fuck who we want to be with, who we don't want to be with. Keeping this thing going. Next stop.
Right, how many times do you pick up a national newspaper or hear a national news story that paints Birmingham in a bad light? So many people slate the city for knife and gun crime, unemployment or drugs, which is why it's good to hear positive stories that put Birmingham on the map. Now, you might have read about a film director from Birmingham that's been making waves in international film circles. He's called m.a.double. He created a film called Ready for Whatever, which is a gangster-themed short movie filmed in Handsworth. Now, the story takes a twist when you find out that he filmed it while on bail, awaiting a trial for drug smuggling. His lead actor was stabbed just before filming got started, and somehow he managed to make the world's film community take notice by taking his film to the Cannes Film Festival. Now, I'm lucky to be joined this afternoon by the man behind Ready for Whatever. So thank you for joining me. Hello.
Yeah, man, calling all cars, man. We're in here.
Yeah. Now, what do you want me to call you? M.a.double, Matthew Walters?
That kind of depends on the circle I'm in at that moment. So, yeah, I'm on a different capacity. So it's the m.a.double I'm using at the moment. But at home, like if I'm with a girl, she call me Matthew, right? Or if I'm with friends, this M.A.
So tell me, how does a filmmaker from Handsworth, who made a film while on bail, end up being one of the big names of the Cannes Film Festival?
It's a lot of stress, it's a lot of work. But you just have to grind and just believe in what your abilities are and just get going.
Tell me how this all began. Tell me how you ended up there. Just tell me the story, a bit about you, because there'll be people who are thinking, who is this guy? Tell us, who are you?
Basically, I was in the streets. I used to do a lot of things in the streets. I don't really want to get into the type of things I used to get into, but I used to do a lot of things. I've been kidnapped twice in one day before. I will say I've kidnapped somebody before as well.
Right.
I've done a load of things. You know what I'm saying? It's not really pretty, that kind of life, but it's just what happens. You know what I'm saying? So we just have to try and take it as it comes, trying to survive. So everybody that's out there surviving, all the guys in the street that's surviving, we're on the same page. So a lot of the guys from Handsworth, they know me.
Yeah.
We've been in business together, so they know what time it is.
The way you talk, it's like it's also matter of fact.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like, I've been kidnapped, I've kidnapped. It's almost like it's to be expected.
Some people even call it a kidnap game, like you know what I'm saying? Like it's a serious thing. Guns been involved. Like I said, big charges been involved, stabbings been involved, people getting killed and all of this kind of thing. So you just have to just hold your head down and just try and do what you gotta do. Get your money and survive or whatever. Was
there a point ever when you did question that survival?
Loads of times, man. Actually, when I was actually sitting there kidnapped, I was in a Jeep. There was two people in front, two people outside of me, and another person sat behind me, and they was all actually discussing how they was actually going to dispose of my body after they finished killing me. So it was like, what we could do is, at a burial site, when someone's going to get buried, they dig the grave already.
Yeah. So
we could just dig it up a little bit more, dump him in, cover him over, and then he would get buried over the next day. So I'm actually hearing that conversation take place around me when I'm kidnapped.
And while you were actually making your film, is it right that you filmed it? Well, you actually filmed it while on bail, awaiting a trial for drug smuggling.
Yeah, that's a whole crazy situation. To be honest with you, it's a real deep situation. It's kind of crazy when I think about it. The police did actually was it a sting?
Right.
A sting. And I was at the depot. Not to get too much into it, was at the depot, and they actually, it was like they came from behind somewhere to park. All the cars are screech up into the car park. Freeze, and all of this. Like, what's going on here, man? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? You're on arrest for etc. I was like, oh, really? You know what I'm saying? And that's the beginning of 16 months of being on there.
But in that time,
Yeah, in that time, well, it's nothing but grey hairs getting into my head.
You're going through all of this, and yet still you're making this film. How does it come about?
Basically, I was actually already on bail at that point. I'm a producer who have actually we've been back and forth on a few ideas and different projects. He called me and was like, yeah, let's actually get this out of the way. Let's get this film done. I was like, it's not really a good time. I didn't want to go too much into explaining. It's not really a good time. Yeah, let's do it, man, let's do it. It's like, all right, you know what? He wanted to actually write a script from scratch. But what I did is I just went to my email, some scripts that I just practiced on. Like, you know, when you get developing my craft.
Yeah.
I just sent him one of those things, just get him off my case. You know what I'm saying?
You just have it to get I'm done with it.
Because he's a guy that doesn't take no for an answer, and I'm a guy that doesn't take no for an answer. So I see where it's coming from. So I just gave him that script. Like, a few weeks later, it's like, yeah, we're ready to go. So I was like, oh man, this is about to be on. All the film stuff that takes place in making a film, that's doing that, you know, underneath that stress. And on top of that, like I said, one of my stars got stabbed. 7 days prior to the beginning of the shoot. So he had to go. He had 2 major operations on his.
So 7 days prior to shooting this, he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
And
in broad daylight on Soho Road.
Whoa. So it's not been without. It's amazing that you ever achieved this at all, considering what you've gone through to actually get there. We've had a little bit of his story, and we're going to continue with that. He made a film whilst on bail, awaiting a drugs trial, ended up turning his back on criminal influences and turned his camera on his community. And, well, he ended up in the south of France. What's coming up next for him, we'll find out after the news with Emma Morris. Today, Matthew Walters, or m.a.double, we're having a chat with him. He's created a film, which is a gangster-themed short movie called Ready for Whatever. It was filmed in Handsworth. And so we've been having a chat with him about his life and what he's gone through and what a story it is, to be fair. And thank you very much for joining me this afternoon and for coming in to have a chat.
I'm glad to be here, man.
Now, if we get back to your story, I mean, you were on trial, we know that, you were cleared of that.
Yep.
And I read on your Twitter the other day that you tweeted, today I would have been 11 months into a 10-year sentence.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever think how life could have been so much different?
It would have been awful, man. Yeah, because I know a lot of people who are actually doing time right now. To be honest with you, when I actually go and visit my brother in prison, I'm actually seeing other friends that are in there also. So it's like a family get together almost. When I go visit one person, you visit everybody because everybody's in there. And it's like, do you know such and such is in here now? Is in there now? How long is he doing? You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just, this is crazy. The prison thing is crazy. So, you know, I would advise all the young kids out there, stay away from all this the crime if you can. Because I know what it's like out there, but if you can stay away from it, stay away from it.
How easy is it to do that, though? I mean, it's good for you to sit here and say stay away from the crime.
Yeah.
Realistically,
this is why I said if you can avoid it, avoid it because there's nothing pretty down there. It's a load of hype and it's a load of I got this and all this, but guess what? You could be under surveillance. You see what I'm saying? You don't know how, and you get those dawn raids ain't no joke. You see what I'm saying? When they get to your house at 6 o'clock in the morning. Let me tell you something. When I was in France. It was at the hotel. I heard some car doors slamming outside the hotel window. I had a flashback like I was in my own bed and it was a dawn raid.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying? I was getting ready to jump out of bed and look out the windows to see if the police come to do a dawn raid. And I was at the hotel in France. So that's the kind of mentality it digs into your brain, that always be on guard kind of a thing. I'm actually in France thinking of a dawn raid over here.
That is, so it really does kind of like embed in there.
Yeah, it embeds in your brains.
What's it like then to make a film and then end up in Cannes at the film festival?
Yeah,
there you are.
That feels like I said, that feels like another win because anything past anything after not dying and not going to jail, and I'm out here actually, I'm not on ground zero because I'm actually taking things on levels. Like 0 is where I'm just free doing what. And now I'm in Kansas, and that's, for me, that's like, I'm going up the levels, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's not just a normal thing, I'm trying to do the abnormal. You know, shout out to Gucci Man that says abnormal, nothing that we do is normal. So that's how you have to try and do it. You have to try and do things big and just try and live life. So when I was out in Kansas, I was just feeling amazing. Like, I was just thinking about all the people who were actually in jail at that time.
Yeah.
I reflected on the people who's actually in jail, reflected on the people who's actually dead, and reflected on all the people who actually, you know, at the job centers and all this kind of thing. I reflected on all those things. I don't really just out there enjoying this time without reflecting on what's happening in real life. I reflect on it all, and I really take it. I appreciate everything that's happening.
What's next for you?
What's next? I've got a project that I've actually already written. It's called Picture Me Rolling, and that's that project. I'm trying to actually sway people from, you know, the young people away from getting involved in the criminal thing and trying to be more entrepreneurial, as opposed to want to get, because the actually entrepreneurial when you're a criminal. It's very entrepreneurial. You have to be business minded. So if you got the skills, you got the skill set already, apply to something legitimate. So that's gonna be the message of my next project. I like to work with some youth organizations to actually help spread that message, where it becomes more cool to actually talk business, a legitimate business, where you can actually go and sit down in offices and talk business with somebody, and they take you serious, and you actually make legit money where you don't have to watch over your back. Because watching your back is not cool at all. You see what I'm saying? You just don't want it. Just take that. Well, I was feeling hungry at the time, so I was thinking, you know what, I'm gonna go and rob. That was my first thing. I'm gonna go and rob something, and I'm gonna go and stick somebody up. That was my first intention. And then someone put me onto something. It's like, yeah, you don't have to rob. You could do this, and start making thousands. I was like, oh really? I don't have to make it. So the difference between me and my brother is that he actually, I couldn't involve him in things I was doing because he was wild. He was too wild, and he would mess up the game for everybody else, and he would get himself killed as well on top of that. So I couldn't involve him. So now he had to go and do the robbing thing.
Do you think now though that he's seen that you've done it a different way? You've done your thing. He's done his thing. You say that, you know, he's in prison if it's the same brother. You know, but do you think that you're an inspiration to him? That isn't how things have to be.
Do I think I'm an inspiration to him? Let me tell you about this guy, man. This guy, when he was, it sounds like an off example, but when he was taking his driving test, he failed 7 times because he's going to tell the driving instructor how he was going to drive.
Okay. That answers that, mate. Say no more. We'll leave that there. Listen, if people want to, and I urge you to go and view a bit of this film, how?
You can go to YouTube and type in "Ready for Whatever" trailer, and there's 2 trailers. There's one on my own channel, and there's one on P110 channel. So there's 2 channels. There's 2 ways you can access the trailers. 2 different trailers. I cut one, and P110 cut a trailer too. So the film's gonna be online July 1st, so everybody can get a chance to tell me how good or bad I did. Right. But the next project, I promise, is gonna be it's actually gonna be a big deal. I'm gonna make it a big deal. So this one is just to let people know I'm actually out there. But the next one, I promise, is gonna be a big deal. Right, so you can, I'll tell you what, we'll put a link to that on Facebook as well. Can we put a link to that on Facebook? Fantastic. It's Lunch with Caroline Martin, and I'll tweet that out when I get out of the studio as well. I've got no signal in here, so you're going to have to wait an hour for that. But there we are, go and check it out once again. Hollywood next then, love? Hollywood, man, no doubt, man, I'm there, man. Well, listen, before you get to Hollywood and when you make the next film, can you come tell us about it first, all right? Because, you know, this is here, this is in Birmingham. It's more important than Hollywood. You got my mobile number, man. Brilliant. We will keep in touch, and I wish you all the very best, and thank you for coming in. Yeah, man. It's always a pleasure. Lovely. Well, there we are then, and we will put that link onto Facebook, as I said, Lunch with Caroline Martin, and I'll repeat it for you.